Happening now, it's election day. We check in with the polls, where New Yorkers are casting their ballots for New York State's gubernatorial primary. And while the heat of summer is setting in, lawmakers in Jamestown, they're talking about snow and the process to clear sidewalks so area kids can get to school safely. Plus, with 4th of July plans in the works, a look at some barbecue tips for those planning to fire up the grill.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Voters across New York are casting their ballots today as part of the gubernatorial primary election here in the Empire State. While voter turnout was expected to increase following the unprecedented Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. However, when early voting ballots and today's tally so far are added together, only around 2,300 ballots have been cast out of the 51,000 eligible voters here locally. WNY News Now's Alyssa Wright joins us live from a polling site on the north side of Jamestown with more on that voter turnout and who's on the ballot today. Alyssa?
Justin, so far today, turnout has been slow to trickle in, with polling sites from Dunkirk to Jamestown continuing to report lower than average participation since opening at 6 a.m. As of right now, behind me, we've only had 37 voters here. On the ballot for the Democrats is Governor Kathy Hochul, U.S. House Representative Tom Suozzi, and New York City's Republic advocate Jermaine Williams. Hochul was propelled from the lieutenant governor position following Andrew Cuomo's resignation amid sexual harassment allegations last year. Since then, the Democratic frontrunner has had a hard time finding a running mate. Brian Benjamin resigned in April following his arrest on federal corruption charges, which he has since denied. Stepping in his place was Antonio Delgado, who faces Anna Maria Archila and Diana Reyna in the race for lieutenant governor. As for GOP voters, Rob Astorino, Andrew Giuliani, Harry Wilson, and U.S. Representative Lee Zeldin are on the ticket. The frontrunner in the Republican contest is Zeldin, who has the endorsement of the state's Republican Party and Conservation Party. Zeldin, an Army Reserve Lieutenant Colonel who has represented East Long Island in Congress since 2015, is a staunch ally of former President Donald Trump and was among the Republicans who voted against certifying the 2020 election results. New York operates under what's known as a closed primary system, which means only those registered for a political party, Democrat or Republican, can participate in the primary election. Full voting for the two victors tonight will take place this fall.
Well, we get the calls, and then some people are somewhat confused or surprised about which party they belong to. But here in New York State, it is a closed primary system. You can only participate if you're a registered member of that party, different than other states. And so it's up to the individual who's running on that line to make sure that they go out and kind of create some sort of energy or some sort of a push, if you will, for people to turn out.
Polls remain open through 9 p.m. tonight, and those with questions about where to cast their ballots and if they're even registered with a party to vote can learn more online at voteschautauqua.com. Live in Jamestown, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
Alyssa, thank you. The complex nature of today's gubernatorial primary election in New York State, it's leaving some voters with more questions than answers as they head to the ballot box. Since polls opened at 6 this morning, so far, low voter turnout has been reported across many locations here in Chautauqua County. Officials with the Board of Elections office tells us there are several factors as to why voters might be confused as to whether they're eligible to partake today. Originally, the congressional primary election was slated to take place alongside the gubernatorial primary today. However, a court order moved that vote to August in order to give an independent expert time to properly redistrict the congressional maps that were found to be gerrymandered by the State House. Also, a special election will take place in August to fill the seat of former Congressman Tom Reed, who resigned for New York's 23rd congressional seat back in May. These changes are prompting questions from prospective voters, according to the Chautauqua County Board of Election Commissioner Luz Torres.
I'm still getting questions also regarding, is there going to be, in August 23rd, special election? And are we going to have early voting? I also have that. And yes, with every election, we have 9 days of early voting with that as well.
Nevertheless, voters will determine who represents the Democrat and Republican parties in this fall's gubernatorial election. Polls are open until 9 o'clock tonight across all of New York State. And a grocery store employee is under arrest after slapping former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani on the back yesterday. Giuliani was campaigning for his son in a ShopRite on Staten Island for this gubernatorial election when an employee hit him and said, quote, "What's up, scumbag?" The 78-year-old managed to stay on his feet, but said he was lucky he didn't fall and crack open his skull. Store security responded immediately, and the 39-year-old ShopRite associate was then turned over to the NYPD there. New York gubernatorial candidate Andrew Giuliani says this attack on his father was politically motivated. We heard from the elder Giuliani via Facebook Live yesterday.
I got hit on the back as if a boulder hit me. It knocked me forward a step or two. It didn't knock me down, but it hurt tremendously. This has to stop. It has to stop. It could have been much worse, of course. People have suffered much worse. This idea that you attack people because, in my case, I'm pro-life.
Now, the candidate in the Republican primary for New York governor says he wants all New Yorkers to feel safe from crime. Once again, that's his son who's running for office. Well, now let's switch gears a little bit and we'll get a live check outside here in downtown Jamestown. Certainly a great day to get out. The weather's not going to stop you from getting to the ballot box today. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live in studio with more on our forecast, and those skies not just limited here to Jamestown.
Yes, we have some beautiful skies all across the region, as you can see from the Randolph Peaches and Cream Sky Cam. We've got a lot of blue sky out there with a few clouds dotting the skies, so it is just fantastic. It's not too warm, it's not too cold, it's just right. I mean, I'll take any day of the week. You can see the satellite and radar composite not really showing you much, but you can see some of those clouds across the southern tier, but they are cumulus clouds, which means they're fair weather clouds. No rain is going to fall out of them, so they're not going to cause you any harm through the afternoon today. 68 was the high yesterday, a cool day. 51 is where we started the day. 95 and 39 are the records. So through the afternoon, we've got lots of sunshine in store for you. A few spotty clouds through the afternoon, but it remains comfortable. 67 to 74 with a northwest wind. Now the humidity and the heat goes up from here. We'll talk about where they're headed with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin.
Alrighty, Dakota, we'll see you back in just a bit as we roll along this half hour while that heat of summer now setting in. Lawmakers here in Jamestown, they're talking about snow in the process to clear sidewalks so area kids can stay safe on their way to school this winter. And later, more local reaction on the Supreme Court's move to pull back Roe v. Wade's ruling. Stay with us. WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Stay fire safe this summer. Only use grills outdoors, away from siding and deck railings. Clean grills often and remove grease or fat buildup. Make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting. Have a 3-foot safe zone around grills and campfires. Keep kids and pets clear of the area. Dispose of coals after they cool in a metal can. Never leave grills, fire pits, and patio torches unattended. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
What is going on, my New York friends? My understanding is that you're in school for a little bit longer than most people, but I got some good news for you. Where are you going to be on September 10th? In Jamestown, New York, with me at 7 o'clock at the Reglena Theater, and you can get your tickets at reglena.com, REGLENNA.com. Make sure that you grab those now. It's going to be so much fun. Jamestown, New York, September 10th. Come and have fun with me.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
While the heat of summer is setting in, lawmakers here in Jamestown, they're talking about snow and the process to clear sidewalks so area kids can get to school safely. Our Bronson Rasmussen has more from the newsroom.
This issue first rose to the forefront last year after a Jamestown father spoke out to WNY News Now, raising concerns about unplowed sidewalks, which seem to plague the city each winter. To solve the problem, the Jamestown City Council was slated to approve a shared services agreement with Jamestown Public Schools. However, the agreement, which would have paved the way for the district to purchase and maintain sidewalk plows that the municipality would operate, was tabled.
Rather than put it up and vote on something they weren't quite sure on, I think the council felt comfortable with just putting it off for a month. First of all, there's some questions about the legalities of using the ARPA funds and the transfer. It seems to be okay, but we had just gotten the ruling on that, and I think they wanted to check into that.
Other concerns arose from the employees needed to operate the plows and what that would specifically entail.
And this has nothing to do with the school system. We're very appreciative of the fact that they've been willing to purchase the equipment and the maintenance agreements for those. But it's a huge amount of money to commit for 2 full-time employees with benefits. And so there was some concern and some further discussion as to whether we would want to look at possibly using seasonal or part-time employees versus the full-time employees.
The 2 positions could be full-time, but with weather unpredictable from winter to winter, there's a possibility that they might need to be filled by part-time or seasonal workers.
Different than the summer help, which is more scheduled. In the winter, we'd have to have some different parameters because, you know, the way the snow goes, the timing, and the number of snowstorms that we actually have, and other things that they could be doing during that time. So there's just a lot of things to tie up and how that would look financially as well as how it would look structurally within the department.
While the resolution was shelved for the voting session, City Council plans to revisit the topic at their next work session on July 18th. In the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
A 23-year-old Clymer resident is accused of stealing over $60,000 from a Falconer area business. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office and Ellicott Police worked together to investigate this fraud complaint, which was first reported back in early March. Following the lengthy probe, investigators accused Nathan Massing of taking the funds, which deputies said he was, quote, not entitled to. A warrant was issued for his arrest by the Town of Ellicott Court, where sheriff's deputies arrested him yesterday. And a 34-year-old Jamestown man has been indicted in connection with 2 drug-related deaths. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Buffalo announced the federal legal action against Stephen Mojica Medina on Monday, who's accused of selling heroin and fentanyl that led to fatalities in August and September 2018. Prosecutors allege that Medina used his Euclid Avenue address in Jamestown to peddle the drugs. In addition to allegedly conspiring with others to commit the felonies, Medina also allegedly used firearms to further his criminal activity. He is legally prevented from possessing firearms because of a previous criminal conviction. Last week, federal prosecutors charged another Jamestown resident for allegedly causing serious bodily injury as a result of his drug sales, connected to a separate case here. And Villadilla onions at Wegmans have been recalled due to potential listeria. According to the company, the products were sold from June 23rd to the 24th. Locations that sold those onions include the one here in Jamestown. The onions may have a 4-digit PLU sticker on the product. It's 4159 or 4166. Wegmans says that these products may be returned to the customer service desk for a full refund. And Monday was the first day House lawmakers in Harrisburg, PA met since the decision on Roe v. Wade. Democrats from the House and Senate held a large rally to condemn that decision and to also express energy for what they call a time for action. Democrats have high hopes to regain a majority in the House for the first time in over a decade, partly because of this year's redistricting process, which resulted in a new House map there. If they can pick up enough seats for a majority, they would likely block any anti-abortion measures from reaching the governor's desk. Leaders said enough is enough and that Republican pro-life legislation is an attack on women's rights.
The Republicans in Harrisburg have shown us who they are. They've shown us they don't believe in women's rights. They've shown us they don't believe it should be up to each and every birthing person to decide what happens with their own body.
Now, if Republicans maintain a majority in the General Assembly, they say they're well equipped to advance pro-life legislation to the governor's desk. Coming up, with the 4th of July plans in the works for many, a look at some barbecue tips for those planning to fire up the grill. But first, when we come back, a full look at our weather forecast and what the upcoming weekend will look like. Stay with us.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to start off with some weather eye pictures. How about this? Off Lake Erie in Dunkirk. Don sending this in, and yeah, you can see the waves crashing ashore there. And, you know, as we told you yesterday, it was choppy on Lake Erie yesterday with all those winds. Now, we also had some SLCs, creepy looking clouds across the region, especially last night. Our own Storm Hartman sending this in. This is nothing to be concerned about. I mean, you know, they're scary looking clouds, but they're not dangerous. And even our own Alyssa Wright captured this scary looking cloud over the southern tier as well. So again, scary looking clouds, they look scary, but they're not dangerous at all. So those clouds were obviously not dangerous at all. last night either. Now, tomorrow morning, we do have a shot of catching another pass by the ISS. If you're up before 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, see if you can spot the International Space Station west to northeast, visible for 6 minutes. The pass will be close enough to the region where it should be bright enough to be able to view it. So lots of blue sky downtown from the HD News Now cam. 62 as the noon hour. A light wind, so it's much less windy today. So if you got a beach trip planned today, you're good to go. We don't have any of that to contend with through the afternoon hours. But the muggy meter, look at where it's going here. Wednesday, a little bit more humid. Thursday and Friday, it turns much more humid. And then by the first part of the weekend, it'll be more humid as well. High pressure is your fair weather pal across the region right now. So nothing going on across the region. Wanted to give you a quick look at the tropics very quickly because we now have potential tropical cyclone 2. It hasn't formed yet, but it's down here across the southern part of the way out here in the Atlantic Ocean. And this is going to be mainly affecting South America, staying away from the United States. But getting back to home, the newest run of the computer modeling basically shows you nothing through the day. So we're just going to run this out. Nothing through the day, clear through the evening hours. Clouds will start to thicken up through the overnight hours. So we'll start to see a few clouds tomorrow. The chance of rain is going to be very limited. We put the chance of rain at 20%, but there could be at least a couple isolated showers across the region through the day on Wednesday. Then Thursday turns much warmer and more humid as well, but should be dry. We start tomorrow around 54, 72 at noon, 76 at 5. Here comes the future, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So you can see 76 tomorrow, 85 Thursday, lots of sunshine. Chance for those afternoon storms Wednesday and on Friday and Saturday. Sunday looking like the better weekend day, and for the 4th of July itself, warm and dry, Justin.
All right, good for some of those fireworks shows out there, although we might have to dodge a couple of showers there, Dakota. Thank you. Well, across the nation now, tens of millions of kids, they'll still be able to eat for free at schools this summer and into next year, now that school meal waivers will be sticking around. Congress approved the extension to keep the Kids Fed Act. It puts nearly $3 billion towards the number of waivers. School meal waivers started going out last year during the pandemic. They allowed all kids to eat for free, regardless of their income. To be clear, though, this extension isn't as broad as that initial bill was, so it won't cover as many kids now. It will require most low-income families to apply for that program before the school year starts, and kids who qualify for reduced price meals will have to start paying again. An attorney for Ghislaine Maxwell wants to postpone her sentencing after she was placed on suicide watch. This as she could be facing up to 55 years in jail today. The former Jeffrey Epstein associate was set to be sentenced this morning in Manhattan federal court for sex trafficking. Her attorney says Maxwell was abruptly removed from general population and put into solitary confinement on Friday. The Bureau of Prisons has not responded to queries about why the 60-year-old was put on suicide watch. But her counsel says a psychological evaluation Saturday conducted by her defense team provides that she is not suicidal. Also, because of being in solitary confinement, she's being argued that Maxwell cannot properly prepare for today's sentencing. It might be the largest migrant tragedy in San Antonio's history. Officials say dozens of people are dead after being trapped inside of a sweltering 18-wheeler in Texas. Amy Kiley reports the incident is part of the growing peril along the southern border.
Dozens of migrants found dead in San Antonio, trapped inside this 18-wheeler with high temperatures around 100 degrees.
Who had families, who were likely trying to find a better life.
More than a dozen others were taken to the hospital. Some of those victims are children.
They were suffering from heat stroke, heat exhaustion, no signs of water in the vehicle. There was no visible working AC unit on that rig.
San Antonio police say a person in the area heard a cry for help around 6 o'clock Monday evening. The fire chief says crews arrived minutes later and found the bodies.
The plight of migrants seeking refuge is always a humanitarian crisis, but tonight we are dealing with a horrific human tragedy.
The police chief says this is the largest migrant tragedy he can remember in the city. It's also part of a growing and horrific trend.
We know that there's been increasing volumes over the last 6 months, 12 months.
Officials count more than 14,000 search and rescues along the U.S.-Mexico border since October. That's about 1,000 more than the total for the last fiscal year, with more than 3 months to go. And not all of the migrants are found in time.
We'll just try to help as many people as we can.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Hey, thank you. Next, with the 4th of July plans in the works for so many, a look at some barbecue tips for those planning to fire up the grill.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now. When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
Slow down, and move over.
Move over. When you see signs,
Lights, vests,
Please, give us some room.
slow down.
Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
to help you,
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real.
Do your part.
Please,
Slow down, and move over.
move over.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Well, people are busy making their 4th of July plans, and of course, a classic one is that family barbecue. Erie News Now's Isley Gooden set out to find some barbecue grilling tips for those sizzling this 4th of July.
Red, white, and barbecue. 4th of July is typically spent behind the grill. I talked with Peter Moss from Farrier's True Value Hardware on tips for those grilling for Independence Day.
We have charcoal, we do the pellet grills, natural gas, propane, we have all that. We have all the cleaners, we have all that for the grills.
He recommends beginners start with propane versus the classic charcoal.
Well, most people, like if they're brand new, and everybody wants charcoal to begin with, but charcoal is work. You know?
Really?
Propane's a lot easier of a grill to use, so you can actually just go out, turn it on, cook your hot dogs, hamburgers, shut it off, and you're done. Propane, you have to kind of let it warm up, get to that temp, and then cook that way.
When looking for new gadgets, he recommends a Bluetooth thermometer. You just plug it into the meat and get alerts on your phone.
I think Farrier's here. We have everything here for you. If you have any questions or anything like that, we have a full parts department. So if you have an older grill from anywhere from grills that are from 1965 up, so we've got a lot of parts and everything that you'll need. Come on down and we'll take care of you.
All right, Erie News Now's Isley Gooden reporting. Isley, thank you so much for that. And you know what's kind of funny? I actually have a grill date this evening with my mom and stepfather celebrating Mike's birthday. So happy birthday, shout out to Mike. And he has one of those new thermometers, and I know he uses it religiously because that's like probably the most important part of grilling, I guess, is to make sure that the food's the right temp.
Yep.
Yeah, or else people
burn
get
my
sick.
steak, please.
Yeah, really.
All right, let's argue. Well
Okay.
done or anything else
So
for your steak.
I'm like a medium well.
Wrong.
Like a little pink.
You're
but
wrong.
Not quite. I don't want it to be bloody.
You're wrong.
There's somebody I know, my soon-to-be sister-in-law loves her steak pretty soft and juicy with a good amount of pink. And honestly, it makes me want to throw up. Like,
I want my steak well done, folks.
Are we heathens?
Well done.
Yeah. Not too crispy, but like a
In the
hockey
words
puck.
of Judge Judy, we're done.
We're done. We're done. Well, Oh gosh, yeah. So let us know. Connect with us on all forms of social media at WNY News Now. We want to hear from you, and if you have plans to get out there and to maybe grill a little bit, it will, as you mentioned, Dakota, will be a pretty nice weekend for all things considered, minus a little bit of rain on Saturday. But I know a lot of people, they're excited to maybe get back to some of these big festivals and see these fireworks that'll be out there. And whether you're grilling on the lake, be sure to stay safe and share your pics with us too, because I'm sure we'd love to see them. We really would. So.
Share any pic you have.
Yeah,
no,
why
actually,
not?
no. We should rephrase that.
No, well,
anything
yeah.
4th of July or weather related.
And
We
it
don't
has
want to
to
see
be-
anything else.
It has to be TV appropriate.
Yes.
That's kind of. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Now that we've talked to our limit, we're a little short. What are you going to say? Here's a live look over 3rd Street. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to vote.